start with the most popular coastal plants that I see in Southern California is for sure the ice plant. It comes in a lot of different colors, but there's this hot magenta one. So I'm going to start with that circle, and then I'm just going to do the dots in the middle. I like to start things where like the perimeter is first. If you just start with the middle and like keep going out, sometimes it just become more than you bargained for. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I'm actually going to use this other palette. Has this hot magenta in it. That's going to be really helpful. And you can always go darker. So I'm just going to start really simple on this one. I'm going to go in between where I left those lines. I'm going to go out. And then, I don't know if I'm going to do this for every single petal, but I'm going to create a couple that are individual. And I'm just looking at the flower, the image, whatever you're using to paint from, or if you're painting from this video, that's perfectly fine. You won't have to worry about this. But I just look at the ratio. So in this flower, the length of the leaf is a little bit longer than the whole circumference of that. So that one's maybe a little too short. And that's how you fix that. So I'm gonna do just a couple like this, because what happens is sometimes things start to look really cartoony, and it's because it's too much water. I can tell already. It's too uniform. So I'm just gonna do a couple of these and like see how that one's not the same color. I'm not gonna even worry about that, and I'm also not gonna fill it in. And you'll see as you go along that it just helps add the shadows and things like that. So I'm gonna do a couple of these, and I'm also not gonna space them perfectly. So if I do another one next to it, it should look good. Every flower has like different unique properties. This one has like really defined edges where the petals are, and it's also a very tiny flower. Like it's actually only about maybe like that big. And it's not like a super perfect flower. There's like a whole bunch of these, and there's also a bunch of short ones in the front. So I want to make sure I get those. This is the kind of flower that also opens and then closes every day. So I just like to think about those things while I'm doing it. Helps you kind of get all the little details. And then I'm gonna make sure that I went in between, because that's one of the characteristics of this flower. It makes it look cool. You can see the red in between the yellow circle. I'll fix that later. Actually, no, I'm gonna do it right now. So I'm gonna get very little water. And I'm not gonna do like these straight lines. I'm actually gonna do like dotted lines. And this part, I am gonna try to make it symmetrical, because this is really the only part of the flower that is truly I'm not super happy about that, but it's fine. And even though I didn't draw those in lines, if I had, again, it would just look really cartoony. So that's gonna like even itself out as we go. Okay, so there's this other thing going on with this flower, that if I just keep using the same pink, it's gonna look really flat. So there's actually a little bit of black, because the sun is hitting it and then it has these shadows. So I'm gonna put some black over here, and then I'm gonna add the pink to it. I'm not gonna use pure black. That would be pure madness in this case. And I'm gonna keep them separate. I'm not just gonna like go for it right off the bat, so that I can slowly get this, and maybe have a couple of different blacks that I can use. I love watercolor because it doesn't dry up while you're using it. I mean, that is just, I think, what makes it so relaxing. With oil, you kind of feel like you're in a hurry, or at least I do. Okay, so I'm gonna start with that. And it's not, it looks really purple on here, but I think it's gonna work once I get on here. Now, you can always go darker. So if I start going too dark, I cannot go backwards. So, I think I'm just gonna do a couple of like shadow lines and see how they go. This flower also has shadows all around it because the picture I took of it, the sun was like right on top of it. And since I want this to be a shadow, I'm not gonna do the whole shape. I hope this turns out. I've never done an ice plant flower. And I'm gonna leave stuff like that too because it just adds to it. It's all good, especially with a messy flower. There will be another one after this that's more of a perfect flower, and I'll show you how to do that. So this, I actually want it to be a little bit more yellow, so I'm gonna wait for that to dry. Now I'm gonna make another version of this pink. I'm gonna bring this pink over here, and I'm going to lighten it, not just with water, but like, I'm gonna grab this. It looks red, but like if you, well actually, that's funny. They're the same color. I mean, this has like a tiny bit more purple in it, but isn't that interesting? So you've got these two totally different and pretty good watercolor sets. But when they're dry, that one looks dark red. That one gives away its color a little bit better. So, I don't know. I'll just keep using them both. What was I gonna do? I was going to add a little bit of like white. This is an experiment, but some kits will come with a white square. Some of them will come with a white tube. The tube, it's like the white and watercolor is funny. You have to realize it's not watery. It's the only creamy color. So just know that when you're gonna use it, it's gonna have a little bit of creamy to it. I'm just gonna add a few. Squeegee. Squeegee's good when you're doing small. And I can make this darker. I can go around this later, so I'm not gonna like worry about if it looks kind of like a phantom petal. I can just see that there's a couple of petals that are really, the sun is shining. And this kind of like an anemone, it has like little petals poking out everywhere. Now, I didn't need to do that. I could turn the paper instead of turning my wrist, so that's another thing. Sometimes get like hyper focused, and that's another cool part about watercolors. You can just be sitting and you can turn it instead of standing. I think that's why I did that, because I'm so used to standing with my palette knife and doing oil. Okay. So basically just like there's no perfect way. You're just trying to get like some variation. There's short ones, there's long ones, there's ones poking out of the back. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make like these ones that poke out. And I'm gonna do more of these than we'll probably end up with in the end, more of these light ones, because we can go darker. So they'll start as light and that gives them some dimension. I'm gonna kind of do one next to all these shadow ones because it's a good place for it. You can just notice it more, I think. Okay, that's good. All right, I'm gonna come in with, there's actually a dark red in here too, so I'm gonna go and take this dark red from the palette, put it next to the darkest red you can find. Put it next to this, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of black to it. See how that red was more pinky? Oh, that was too much black. Hold on. I just want to get that dark. There's like a dark maroon situation going on here. And that, since it had too much pink in it, it just wasn't any good. All right, so that's better. The darkest red and then some black. And I'm gonna, I don't want to do anything too crazy where I can't paint over it because I have black in here now. So instead of like drawing the edge of a petal or something, I'm just gonna do like kind of a phantom petal. Like that, okay? Yeah, and different lengths. I'm just not gonna finish them. So, this is a tricky flower actually, because the petals are not, they're everywhere. They're just everywhere, okay. Have to remember not to take it too seriously. Best paintings always are the ones where I didn't take it too seriously. And the very best are the ones where I had a lot of fun doing them. So with this is a good meditation for not taking yourself too seriously, because like I keep wanting to do like these perfect petals and that's just not gonna look as cool. Now I'm losing a lot of pigment here, so it's like it's dark, but I'm kind of losing the color, so I'm gonna recreate it a little bit. Whoa. I'm gonna come out from those red dots. Good practice to not let outside things bother you. That squeak was Mrs. Maple Butter's. My rabbit. In case you haven't figured that one out yet or haven't seen any other videos. Okay, I'm gonna step back for a second and look at this because I'm getting really super focused on this very small flower. I think it's time. I think I've got enough variation where it won't look too cartoony. I'm gonna come in and do this. Oh, whoa, that was the wrong color. That was purple. This red, magenta, I'm gonna get it really, it is windy today, so it is drying fast. Okay, and I'm just gonna start adding the bright and hopefully just kind of finish this out. And I'm gonna be careful to not just do like these red stripes. Just gonna do like sections and maybe outline some of the light ones. A good way to not make it look too outliney is to just outline half. So maybe I'll finish these ones like that. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how that looks. Actually, I think that works pretty good. That pink is perfect. When I took the photo for this, I was not sure if I'd be able to. And the reason I did all this open is because you don't want to have to go over something that you weren't meant to. Oops, that got a little thick. I wanted to leave more like yellow in between there. So I gotta be careful here. Get a little crazy. I've always wanted to try doing that ice plant flower. Now's the chance. Don't blow it. Just kidding. When this is finished, this type of flower is like totally crammed with petals. So we're almost done. We're almost done. Oh my gosh. It's crazy how such a tiny object can actually be so tricky. I'm honestly like amazed at how many different shades and colors there are in this thing. I feel like I need to start being a little quicker. So there's something about changing your speed that makes everything so different. And since this flower is not a very stiff flower, it's more pigment. I feel like as my hand was going slow, it was starting to just get weird. Different lengths. So if I change my speed, you can see already what happens. And I'm loving it because this is like a loose, really crazy firework of a flower. I love how painting is just metaphor for life. It's so great. So you can see right there, I was being too careful and I wasn't getting what I needed. And now it's like letting yourself be more free and allow other stuff. I'm also can focus more on the diameter when I go at a different speed. I'm getting a lot of pigment on my brush. Make sure you have not watery, very strong color. This is good. This looks more like an ice plant. Now I wish my center was bigger, so let that help you with your next one. Or with this one if you didn't make that mistake. It's a good reminder though, if you need some space in the middle. And I'm actually gonna show that, now that I brought it up. In one of the next lessons, I'm gonna show you how to more safely create white space in the center. I might have to fake it and I'll show you a little trick on how to fake it when I'm done. I think that was the ticket. Now if I left it open like that, it would end up looking more like a mum or something. This does not have open petals. It's tightly bundled. So we're done. I'm gonna come in. Yeah. I'm gonna use this pinky one again. And I'm just gonna really lightly with, not like that. That was supposed to have way more water. I'm just gonna really lightly with like a little bit more water in it. Come in and fill these. And I'm gonna keep my speed up. Not too much water, hey. As you use your water and it comes off your brush and you have less and less of it, it's good. Because you can get more variation while you fill it in. I might not even come all the way down. Yeah, that looks really cool. So get your brush, steady your hand, and just go from one point down for these edges. 1 point down. Also, try to bring back out these really short ones. They got buried in there. I don't know. So let's come in and do a couple short ones. And see, this is such a great example of you can always go darker. So like, and go from out in, because if a petal is thin and at the end, you want to go from the thick to the thin, and you kind of like press it down and then lift it up. Now I'm going to do that over here too. Instead of the outline one, I'm going to try a couple of that. Lot of pigment on there, press it down, pull it in. And don't pull it all the way to the center. These are just going to be your finishing ones. Wow, this was supposed to be a simple little one for this collection, but I'm learning a lot as we do it. Oh, that was a massive mistake. Look at that. Good grief. So this is how you fix it. It's not dry. So I made that one thick, and then I'm gonna make a light one next to it. All right, so now I'm gonna get my water back on my brush, because those are all pretty thick. And I'm gonna start doing these watery ones. I really don't want these ones that I looped, I really don't want to see it like that loop. So I'm gonna go back in, get strong pigment again, make sure it's not too much water, and start filling them in. So you're at a point and you're pulling it in, not going back and forth. Oh, too much water. This is actually looking pretty cool. Alright, we're almost there. Don't get too involved with like perfecting the petals as you fill this in. Overstep the cool stuff that we did at the beginning, and don't make them all end at the same point as you do this. All right, and then don't forget to step back and look at it for a second. That's how I noticed this. I'm gonna let this dry for a second. I'm gonna show you how to cheat the little area where I did not leave the yellow big enough. Whoa. My water splash changed the page on my iPad. Okay. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, if you have this, it's just, or if you don't, you can use the one that's in your watercolor palette. This one's just a little thicker. I'm gonna take it and I gotta be careful because I don't want to have to paint all over this again. I'm just gonna pre-establish that circle with tiny dots, and I'm not gonna try to do like this perfect circle of dots because I tried that already and it just looked weird and fake. And then I'm gonna make dots to establish that this part is bigger. Now it looks more like an ice man. And then I'm even gonna do, okay, that was bigger than I wanted. Some teeny tiny dots. And just kind of bring this out like that. And then the way that I'll bring that together, yeah, that's way better. I need to let that dry though, because it's really windy. Should be fine. While that dries, I'm gonna finish some of these weird areas. Like, that's weird. And they're not wispy. That's what I'm really getting about this flower. Okay, get some thick on here. Like, that is not what it looks like at all. So I'm gonna make sure that there's none of those weird wispy things. What is it? I mean, essentially, all the ice plant petals are just this solid magenta, but there's light and there's shade and there's short ones and long ones, and so we just want to try to create that. It's pretty good. Let's see if this is dry. Not really, but I just want to add some yellow, so it should be fine. I'm gonna get this, I mean, you have, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna use my other palette because it has a little bit more of like this, I feel like the lemony yellow is a little bit brighter. And I'm gonna do the same thing but with dots on top of the white, and hopefully we'll pick up the white. Try not to do it on the red because then you're creating red and yellow together. So just as careful as you can. And that's my trick for fixing a white space that was supposed to be bigger. And then I want just a little bit of a circle vibe, so I'm gonna do like a semicircle line right here. Oh gosh. I don't know about that. It's okay. Oh yeah. Take back your brush and just make some direct lines. It's a tricky one. So there's your little ice plant. SoCal Coastal Spring Collection flower number 1. Ta-da!